Join me as I try to nail down the top 10 epic movie quotes from fantasy films and see if I can get them right. Inconceivable! Tell me you know where that quote comes from. One of the best one word quotes of all fantasy movies. It's also the only one word quote that I considered for this list. My top 10 epic movie quotes from fantasy films. And no, it did not make the cut. Painfully, I had to leave out a ton of others to winnow this list down to just a top 10. But I endured that pain for you. By the way, Inconceivable, of course, comes from the 1987 classic fantasy film The Princess Bride. So, what managed to rise to the top 10 of my list? Well, we'll get there in a moment. First, I've got three honorable mentions. Lines that didn't just miss the cut, but rather are simply so iconic that I need to give them shoutouts just because I love them. And I bet you do as well. Something that can cause a line from a fantasy film to rise to epic status is our ability to quote it from memory. These lines and the scenes that they come from become embedded in our brains. That's certainly true of my first honorable mention from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, 1975 fantasy film. The scene when King Arthur and his troop, his small group at that point, going through the forest and are confronted by the Black Knight. And you must fight me to get past. And so Arthur does and ends up cutting off his arm. And okay, let's go now. And what do we get? It's only a flesh wound. And the duel continues. And then we lose the other arm, we lose the leg. Everything gets lost. It's quite a humorous scene. I still can envision as they finally just go around the knight and leave, and the knight hopping around, calling him a coward. He's got no arms and no legs, and he's going to bite his foot off. My second honorable mention comes to us indeed from The Princess Bride, 1987. But this is that wonderful line given to us by the swordman, Inigo, who has spent his adult life training for and seeking out his vengeance against the man with 6 fingers, or 5 fingers and a thumb, depending how you look at it. And when he finds him, he says the line he is prepared to say: "My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." And he ends up getting, well, he doesn't do so well against the swordman. He's been stabbed here, and he's fading, and then nope. He refuses and he starts repeating that line again and again as he gets his strength back more and more and more. And of course, he ends up victorious. It's a great scene. I love it. And you just want him to keep repeating the line. For my third honorable mention, it's one that, okay, maybe not as many of you will enjoy this as I do, but some of you are out there. And this comes to us from the 1982 fantasy film Conan the Barbarian, where Conan shares just what it is that brings a smile to his face. The things that we live for in life, which of course are, well, he's asked, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. That's a barbarian for you. It's an iconic line. But those are the honorable mentions. Now let's get to the ones that actually hit my top 10. These are just amazing lines, things that have so much behind them in many cases, and they stick with you. Number 10. From The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, 2003. This is a two-person line. Gimli, our dwarf of the Fellowship, and Legolas, our elf of the Fellowship, as they and many others are standing outside the gates of Mordor, with the powers of Mordor surrounding them, and it looks like clearly this could be the end. And Gimli says, "Never thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf." Oh, that's a horrible Gimli. Sorry, I can't do that one. But Legolas responds with, "What about side by side with a friend?" "Aye, I can do that." It's a good moment. It's a good line. It really brings home how over the course of this 3 movie adventure, these two have clearly put aside their natural angst that dwarves and elves have for each other. And it's no longer about being a dwarf and an elf. It's about being companions, friends, genuinely who care for each other and respect each other. Number 9, from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the 2001 movie that kicks off the Harry Potter franchise. Late in the film, all has been done, and Professor Dumbledore is up in front of the student body, announcing the annual special awards and recognitions. And of course, Harry has gotten one and his friends, but the last award goes to Neville Longbottom. And the line is from Dumbledore: "It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends." And with that, Gryffindor wins the House Cup for the year. Way to go, Neville. Number 8 is my one movie that I'm going to go into the science fiction fantasy. There's plenty I could draw from: Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, lots of these films that, okay, they're sci-fi, but they're rather fantastical as well. I chose to leave most of them out, really sticking to more of the hardcore fantasy, but this one gets in because it's my favorite. It's one I use in life. I use it professionally in presentations. And you know it, you love it. It's from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. And Master Yoda is the one sharing it to Luke. "Do or do not. There is no try." Yeah, there is no try. I'll try. No! Do it! Or don't. I love that line. So much meaning. Number 7. We go back to the Harry Potter franchise, this time from one of the best, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the 2007 film. A tender moment where Sirius Black speaks to Harry and says, "We've all got both light and darkness inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are." Deep moment. And Sirius can speak to that, coming from such a black family, and yet he's chosen to be something different. Gotta love Sirius Black. Number 6, The Hunger Games, the 2012 film, beginning of a series of movies. This is the best of the series, and it gives us this quote from President Snow. Boo, we don't like President Snow, but he gives us this: "Hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear." Powerful line. Very true. Number 5. Going back to The Lord of the Rings, but this time The Fellowship of the Ring, the 2001 beginning of the trilogy. And this is a Gandalf line that he gives to Frodo. Frodo has been bemoaning his fate, the stuff that's upon him now, and how he wishes none of this had happened. And we get, "All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." Wise words, that Gandalf. Okay, I have to admit now, the rest of the way, all I have is Lord of the Rings quotes. Why? Because they pulled so much great stuff straight out of Tolkien, and Tolkien could write, man. If you go back and read those books, yeah, the style's a little older, but there's so many gems packed into it. So what other gems do I have? And of course, it's not just the Tolkien text, it's how the actors delivered it. For number 4, we go back to The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And this is near the end. Samwise Gamgee, Frodo Baggins, climbing Mount Doom, trying to make it up, and Frodo is gassed. He just can't go another step. He's basically passing out. And Sam's like, "Come on, Mr. Frodo. It's just a little farther. We can do it." And when he can't, Sam says, "Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you." And up he goes, and up they go until stupid Gollum shows up and clocks Sam one. But it was such a great moment, and the music supporting it, it just sweeps you up. Very memorable. Number 3, also from Return of the King. This is Aragorn speaking to the troops outside the gates of Mordor, where they have shown up to be the distraction, to keep Sauron's eye on them, and giving Frodo and Sam a chance to finish their mission. And I mean, it's not a pretty place. If things don't work out quickly, they're all gonna die. But Aragorn, pump up the troops. Here's what he does. "A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forget our friends and forsake all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day." And there's more, he says, but you get the point. It's a very stirring speech. That Aragorn man, he could really pump people up. Number 2, again, The Return of the King. This is the last one that comes from The Return of the King, but there's a reason this movie was so successful, is so beloved, and won so many Oscars. And this one is another Aragorn line. You cannot watch this one without tearing up or at least getting a little wet in the eye or feeling it, unless your heart is made of stone. And it's that moment even later in the film. Frodo, Sam, Pippin, Merry, standing before Aragorn and his new queen as they all are gathered there at the top of Minas Tirith. And Aragorn has, marched along everybody, and he comes upon them, and they start to bow to him. And he's like, "My friends, you bow to no one." And the king bows to the hobbits. And everyone bows to the hobbits. And they're like, yeah. That almost gets me just telling you about it, because I'm picturing the moment. The moment. You love that moment. What could I have put ahead of that one? It's one that I don't feel as strongly as I do on number 2, but the meaning to it is so much more. And that's going back to the Fellowship of the Ring. In Lothlorien, when Galadriel has a word with Frodo and says to him, "Even the smallest person can change the course of the future." That one has meaning, carryover in so many ways. Everybody matters. And yeah, you may see people who seem more capable, more profound, more talented, more impressive. Doesn't matter. What you do makes a difference. Never forget it. Remember Frodo. Remember the hobbits. All right, those are my top 10 quotes. Epic movie quotes from fantasy movies. What do you think? Do you like these? Are there other ones you would put on the list that I didn't think of? Put them down in the comment box. I want to hear your favorites. These are way open for debate. Obviously, it's so subjective. But especially, if I missed one of your favorites, let me know what it is. And if you think some of these are out of order, you just mix it up. Give me your order too, because I want to hear it. And go ahead. You want to give me some more Star Wars, Star Trek lines? Toss them in there. I am all eyes. And I will enjoy reading what you put there, and I will respond. And if you like episodes like this, be sure to check out the other things on our channel and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything else we put out. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.